Hi students, this is Miss James here to help you with simplifying square roots. So let's take a look at an example. We're going to start with a square root that we already know how to do. Okay, so square root of 16. You guys know that the answer to this is 4. So let's look at why. If we factor out 16, we know that it's 4 times 4 that gives us the answer, which is 4. So if we make a pair of numbers, that's what comes out of the square root and makes our answer. So basically we're going backwards from 4 squared, which means 4 times 4, equals 16. It can also be written as a square root, meaning what two numbers make up 16, which is 4. This one simplifies into a perfect number, just one number all by itself, 4. So let's take a look at an example that doesn't simplify quite like that. Let's try the square root of 450. If I factor this out, I can start with any two numbers that I know factor to 450. Since I see that it ends with a 0, I like to do 10 times 45. From there, these numbers factor even further. 10 becomes 2 times 5, so we cross out the 10. And I'll show you guys why we crossed it out. It's to help us not be confused later. So we cross out the 10. And then 45 also goes into two different numbers. 5 times 9, so we factored out that one. The 2 and the 5s don't factor anymore, but the 9 does, into 3 times 3. So these numbers are the only ones left inside the radical. 2 times 5 times 5 times 3 times 3. So this equals the square root of 2 times 5 times 5 times 3 times 3. How can I simplify this even further? I can go ahead and take out the two pairs of numbers. We have a 5 that match up, and we have the 3 that match up. The 2 does not have a pair, so therefore it's going to stay inside the radical. But just like in the square root of 16, only one 4 comes out. So it's the same thing with this. 1 5 comes out, and 1 3 comes out. So now we have 5 times 3 on the outside. So overall, this simplifies to 15 times the square root of 2. And there is our final answer. Square root of 2 stays inside the radical because if we did that, it would be a really long irrational decimal. And we want to leave it simplified, which is just square root of 2. It's kind of like the reason why we don't simplify 1/3. 1/3 is already simplified. So if we did that, tried to do it further into a decimal, we'd get a really long decimal that never ends. So we don't want to do that, and we want to leave it as the simplest form. It's the same thing with the square root of 2. Square root of 2 is the simplest form for that particular square root. The 5 and the 3 come out though and make the 15. So here we go. Here's our final answer right there, 15 square roots of 2.